Hello folks, this is XS Bravo and welcome back to the channel. So today, for the first time ever, I am going to be talking about the lost details of the Indiana Jones adventure. So, let's start. We'll first start off with the Raiders of the Lost Ark truck. Originally, there used to be a track basket on the roof of the truck, but I'm not exactly sure why they got rid of this. My guess is because it could have been due to safety concerns, because maybe the material was deteriorating and it could have been a hazard to guests in the surrounding area. I believe this was removed during the 2012 refurbishment. Now we're going to go to the back of the truck, known as the cargo hold, which had a lot of items back here. There was a oil lamp that had a hidden Mickey. I think this was added a little later in the 2000s. So in 2018, they replaced the tarp. Because they did this, a lot of the details were removed. There used to be maps that you could see here, which had there was a magazine. You can see the Life magazine here. The hidden Mickey and the oil lamp got removed, and a lot more other things. Of course, things here and there did change over time before this 2018 change occurred, but goodness gracious, it seems really sad without those details being there. At least you still have a lot of the crate boxes and other things sitting back there. When the park reopened after the pandemic, they unnecessarily removed even more things from the queue. They removed this plaque that you see on the back right of the truck, which I think it might be a caution sign. Now we're going to move on to the tent. There was a huge load of details here as well. The exact date of these details being removed is not known entirely. But here's a little fun fact. After the park reopened due to the pandemic, all the coins that were thrown inside this area were entirely removed. Not really a fun fact, but hey, I like bringing it up. With this, some other items got removed as well. So there was a lot more stuff inside here, as you can tell from this picture from Daveland. As you folks can see, there was a barrel here that had a note with marglyphics, but presuming that this was removed after the pandemic. This was a part of the 90s night event that they had during the refurbishment of the Indiana Jones adventure in 2019. If you go back to the tent, if you go to the right of the tent, you'll notice that the tent had some of the tarps that it had on its right side extended upwards like so. I'm not exactly sure why this was taken down. The only guess I could come up with is that they just took it down because it didn't look too appealing, I suppose. I don't know. It looked cool anyways, but can't think of anything better than this. In my email, I actually did bring up this detail regarding the temple. The email I had was like 20-something things. The video that I made, where I was a little premature about it, I took it down. But hopefully that email that I sent them, they do actually fix a lot of the stuff inside the attraction and outside of it. I'm sure a lot of you folks have questioned what this weird metal mechanism is at the bottom left of the temple. Well, this metal mechanism is like a reel-in system. It used to be attached to rope, which said rope was connected to rope netting, which said rope was around a wooden wheel that attached to the fallen debris of the temple. You'll see how everything is set up here. You can see that the rope here that's attached to this mold of the temple here is connected to the wooden wheel, and then from that rope piece that's connected here, goes down and connects to more rope netting that's wrapped around that fallen debris of the temple. Now if you go up to the left here of the temple, you can see this old wooden pulley system. In 2004, they did a downgrade compared to how everything was set up originally, which also included the wooden pulley, and instead left it looking like this. It doesn't really make sense if you think about it story-wise. So the way that they had the wire connected was down to this part of the temple. It was not, wrapped around a wooden wheel anymore. They had this connected in such a weird manner that it wouldn't make sense. And it didn't make sense. Because instead they would be pulling down the debris, not pulling it up into a secure position. You see the issue here? Then 2007 rolls around and they disconnected the metal wire entirely with the rope, and this is how it sat. Now the rope nettings have deteriorated horribly. You can only see strands nowadays. Both sides of the temple look really sad with these details gone. There used to be two buckets. You can see the bucket down here in which it was connected to some other part of the temple, And then you can see the second bucket chilling right here next to this ladder. But unfortunately, whatever material they were using, the rope broke. So they got rid of the second bucket. The exact date of these being removed, I'm not sure. Right across from the metal mechanism, there is a box, which still sits there today, but it's missing 3 things. There was a lantern which functioned, and there were tools as well. They got rid of them. The only hypothesis that really makes sense, it's because the wood was beginning to deteriorate due to the weathering it was going through every single day. And my guess is that guests were getting splinters, or it was some other type of different safety concern. I'm not too sure, honestly. It may have been one or the other. There's still one bucket that sits there today, and it's at the front of the temple to the right, next to this ladder. Behind the ladder, there was a shovel. It's gone now, but at least you got the bucket, right? Something to celebrate about. The ladders as well used to be connected with rope. Of course, they're attached in a professional manner, so it doesn't cause any, unnecessary chaos for the guests around the temple. But yeah, they had rope connected to one handle and then to some part of the temple. Looked really nice. I think the removal was done in 2008. And now the ladders just sit there on their own. When we first step inside, we see a mural of the temple deity Mara. Look down and you will see a bench that has a journal which shows drawings of the discovery inside this area of the temple. But details on this bench have disappeared entirely. And you're going to be amazed by the amount of things that were here. Not a lot, but the way that they had everything set up looked beautiful. The journal, from what I can tell in this photo, seemed to have been made of thin metal plates, which had the drawings. On the book, there was a magnifying glass attached on the right side. On the left, there were 2 other tools keeping that page down. Next to the book, there were tools and a few notes, and then on the left side of the bench, there seems to have been a tool bag, and on top of this wooden piece, there was a flask. At some later date, maybe 2000, the journal was replaced with one that was made of some type of hard plaster with the images implemented. But the images, however, are not the same compared to what you see on the original journal. Unfortunately, I was not able to find any more pictures relating to the journal here. The pictures I have found are extremely low quality, and there's nothing better than what we have here. Now, why was the journal replaced and not kept with the white pages? Which I'm pretty sure they were thin metal plating. Or it could have been legitimate fabric. It's because, from what I read, a student actually stole the journal. They took it out of there and shoved it into their backpack. This is why we have this replacement journal now. Some of the stuff kind of remained. So they got rid of the flask. The tool bag still remained. And the journal with the tools that also have the notes remained. And then as things continued, the tool bag disappeared with the tools that also had the notes. I'm not sure why the notes and tools got removed, but now this whole thing just seems empty. Just seems really depressing with these details gone. So, only the book chills there on its own today. There used to be bat figures inside most of the holes. I think it was just one hole that you see these 3 bat figures. They may have been made of plastic or rubber. But guests had the audacity to climb up the cave walls and steal them.
Ready? Ready?
Yes, unfortunately, rarely. As you guys can see in this picture from 2005, only 2 bats remained. There was a shrine that also used to be in this spot, but it got broken in probably before 2012, I think maybe 2011. I'm not sure. It's hard to find pictures that show this specifically. Somewhere probably there. If not, please correct me if I'm wrong. The base of the shrine is the only thing that you see there today. This one is not really crazy on details because the spike chamber has remained the same. Most of the skulls that you see in there did have hats. Next to this skeleton, there was like a wooden type of sledgehammer of some sort that sat next to the skeleton. And I think it got removed in 2006 or 2007. Why exactly? I'm not really sure. It wasn't really much of an issue. But yeah, now you can only see the silhouette of this wooden hammer. So in the Rotunda calendar, there's a lost hidden Mickey on the stone well lid where an archaeologist is looking for artifacts. It's been chipped off due to guest interaction. This must have happened in like 2004 because the hidden Mickey disappeared significantly. The Jeeps had these stickers on the sides of them. This is the part that confuses me. I don't really know when they got rid of these. A friend of mine pointed this out to me, which I've completely forgotten about these stickers, and now there's none. All the stickers are gone. It must have been because people were possibly chipping them off, or they were starting to come undone. I'm not too sure which is which, but I'm pretty sure it may have been both. Alright, so now we're going to jump into the main attraction. The majority of the stuff in the attraction, surprisingly, is still there. You still have a lot of the raffia that's hanging in, like, everywhere. Before you board the Jeeps, you still have a lot of the raffia all over the place. You have the rope vines that are still there. And yes, those are legitimate rope vines. A cast member that I met during that visit with Chuck Bailu, I met two more folks, and one of them stated, yeah, these are legitimate rope vines. I was pretty blown away by that. No wonder they look so good. Originally from 1997 to 2003, the snake in the Snake Temple originally had glowing eyes, in which it looked far better than the newer ones that came after. There used to be more rope vines as well as raffia over the skeleton warriors, but due to the refurbishment in 2012, which required them to remove said rope vines, they did a lot more than simply paint over the skeleton warriors. They added some new deterioration damage to those frames that separate each panel of the skeleton warriors, which is pretty much why they had to get rid of a lot of that raffia as well as the rope vines. There was this piece of untwined rope for the fake rope where you see the transition from the fake to the real rope. This little untwined rope was there from 1995 to 2003. For some reason, they got rid of it and left it like it is now. It does look weird when you can see the transition between the two. We don't pay too much of attention to it. For the chamber itself, there used to be a lot of raffia on the ceiling where the Indy animatronic is at. So it actually gave the room a lot of life compared to what it looks like now. The raffia used to move freely whenever the scene started, and it looked really cool. If you think about this carefully, it would be like the boulder was actually pushing air towards us, so it moved the raffia up towards the ceiling. It looks awesome. Nowadays, a lot of the raffia has dried up to the point where they kind of shrunk, at least for some of them. Some of them kind of got stuck against the wall. So if you look at flash pictures of the attraction, you will see that there is raffia still on the sides. Even where Indy's at, there's some, but they're just really small now because they were removed by Imagineering. So I did also mention this in the email if they could bring back some raffia. Now they possibly might, I don't know. I don't want to have my hopes too high in the universe beyond. Now let's jump to where Indy is next to the broken boulder. I believe this was only for the first year, for 1985. As you guys can see in this photo, there were a lot of spider webs everywhere here. I don't think anyone's ever seen this. I don't think anyone's ever noticed it. Now, I don't know if this is still there, but there's actually a toy spider that's been chilling there for a long time. And if you actually look closely at this picture, you can see the little spider. So it's just kind of hanging off of a thread, just chilling there. Kind of sad that there's no, spider webs anymore, and I think they should add a lot of the spider webs, because this is supposed to be an old temple, right? So I think it would be nice if they added those webs back. This is why this attraction is awesome. There are so many details that you don't even know about that you have to keep going into the attraction to see everything, because going on at once, you're not going to see everything. There's too many details at once to see. Now, before I end off this video, there's a cast member that I met on the attraction. His name starts with a D. I didn't know that there was a new little change into the queue area in the film room, where you see the 3 stone tablets of the 3 gifts that Mara provides, that Mara gets to you for your deepest desire. I didn't know it was a cast member only area. Again, it's been like 3 years since I've been into the parks, and I didn't know they had that, so I felt really bad because it looked like I broke a rule or something, but I didn't know. But there's so many changes in the Disney parks right now, it's crazy. I don't like to break rules when I go to the parks. I like to be respectful. If something does happen, I'll make sure I own up to it and not do it again. And now the question to you, my friends. With these details gone, does it really ruin the experience? For me, yes, because it shows you how much dedication and work was really implemented into immersing you into an experience. And having a lot of these details gone, it really takes out a lot of that immersion. It makes everything look emptier than what it was originally. So yes, it does ruin the experience for me. Not to a high degree, I still love the experience. It is beautiful. A lot of the details are still there, but for the majority of these little details, a lot of it is gone. It's just sad seeing all these little things gone now. Now that I'm sure that you folks hopefully watched this whole video and noticed these details being removed, now you'll truly see that, yeah, it probably does ruin the experience. So for part 2, I'm going to be discussing lost audio. I hope you guys enjoy that video whenever I get to it. I haven't started work on it. I've been busy with a lot of things outside of YouTube. If you're an audio nerd like myself, I think this will be a very interesting video for you to watch. Thanks, folks. Subscribe, and please share this with your friends and comment down below what you think about this. And remember, do answer that question. With all the details gone, does this really ruin the experience? See you in the next video.